Welcome to This Podcast is Making Me Thirsty, the number one destination for Seinfeld fans. This is Two Up and Two Down. Here's our producer, Chris, to start us off.
All right, everybody. Another episode of Two Up and Two Down. And today we got the mango. How about that? Tony, over to you. What's your first up?
Yeah, the mango starts off season 5, which for us is an all timer. Obviously, this is prime Seinfeld and starts it off with a bang. So we got to find 2 ups and 2 downs. Downs, I've got a couple on my sheet. Well, we'll get there, but my first up, and again, there's a lot here. I'm going to give my first up on. Man, there's so much here. You know what? Let's start where we start. Season 5 opener, first scene. This is, classic Seinfeld to a T. Jerry and George at Monk's talking about girls. I mean, this is what it's all about, right? You're not in the mood. You get in the mood. What's typical? Give me typical. And everything you could ever think of is this is them going back and forth. Just talking about girls, let me ask them, is there Tampax in your bathroom? All these conversations that we love. This is another example of it. Tub is love. Very similar to that Tampax conversation. Do you feel anything? When she comes over, you're cleaning. Trying to understand, we're trying to send women and where we're at. And then George goes into the whole below the equator conversation. It obviously turns there quickly. And Jerry, the whole, close your eyes, hope for the best. The whole thing. Just unbelievable conversation between these two guys. It gets to the heart of the show. I know Lawrence Levy's credited as a writer in this episode, but you gotta think Larry David pretty much wrote that scene and that dialogue. It's got his name written all over it. The two of them just going back and forth. It's why we love the show. It's the essence of the show. It has to be an up. So I'll just grab it off the bat. That's my first up.
Yeah, excellent scene there. And I tried to guess what you guys would do for ups and downs here, and I definitely had that one written as an up. So good points there, Tony. Chris, over to you. What's your first up?
Personifies the show. I mean, the line you left out there, oh my God, do I love it. I got the tap, right? Like the manager coming out and asking for the ball. Nothing better than that. I love how they just bring it back to sports just to simplify it for us common men here. Yeah, like I said, Lawrence, the mango really kicking off season 5 with a bang, as you said, in September of '93. Got a lot of ups here. I'm gonna go with the K-Man and Joe at Joe's Fruit. I mean, those two arguing the first time when he brought back, the peach. Only Kramer brings back one piece of fruit, restitution. He's like, and Joe says, take it up with God, you're bad. I mean, that's New York, right? I mean, he loves his place, Joe's, and, Joe doesn't give a shit. He's like, get out of here. I don't want your business anymore. Like, just, he's so proud. I mean, what a character. We talk about characters. Joe, the fruit stand guy, as good as it gets, as intimidating as it gets, he kind of reminds me of little bit of Kevin Arnold's dad in Wonder Years, a little bit, that kind of toughness and intimidation. He had that fatherly figure, and you could tell, obviously, the K-Man and Jerry were fearful of him. So first up was definitely Joe and Kramer when he gets banned.
Yeah, good stuff there. So, I agree with that. Over to you, Tony. What's your second up?
Yeah, I mean, that was you got. I was going to say something. Joe's Fruit is just incredible. You can't beat. Restitution. I mean, how funny is that word? Restitution. Just Joe saying restitution. Listen, I feel like I'm giving another up it's kind of tacked on to my first up. I don't know if it's I don't think it's a cop out. I got a whole list here I could choose from. But hey, I didn't go there on the first up for this reason because I want to use it as my second up. But when George at the end of that conversation, unless she's faking, obviously, and then Elaine comes in, and then when Elaine breaks the news that she was faking with Jerry, I mean, you cannot beat that. Fake, 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 fake. Obviously, we all love that. George orders the cake. Jerry just cannot believe it the whole time. He's there, just like, when? All the time? The way Elaine delivers each of those lines. The best is when Jerry's like, I bet after all those beers, they must be a little groggy. And then she just slips in, but you didn't know. And then it's just boom, record scratch. I mean, unbelievable. So good. So good. Just talk about setting the tone. O'Hara's mentioned this before. I mean, right there now we're locked in. The tone is set. What this episode's going to all be about. And man, does it just go off from there. But that's my second up.
Well, yeah, that first scene is so good. You got to mention it twice. So, Chris, back to you. What's your second up?
Yeah, great stuff. And, there's plenty of ups here, but I'm going to kind of just take that, what Tony mentioned, and kind of the theme of Jerry and Elaine throughout. I just love some of the lines. Oh, friendship, schmenship. Like, love Jerry saying that. The Meryl Streep is such a phony baloney. To Jerry, again, this sparked Jerry to do all these things. I always loved the line, Patty Lawrence had him. Like, I don't know why Patty Lawrence always just sits in my head. Whoever she is, probably, someone Larry got with back in the day. You had your up. So, and then obviously how it ends with, Elaine saying, all right, I'll give you a half hour. And the whole sex to save the friendship just put a incredible bow on that opening scene that you discussed. So for me, just that the Jerry and Elaine stuff, the bickering back and forth, and then obviously how it all ended, just remarkable stuff.
All right. Yeah. Thank you, Chris. Wow. I mean, we got like so much more ups to go with, but those are two from each of you. And that's the name of the game here. So we got to do the downs. Tony, what do you got for your first down?
Yeah, as you mentioned, there are a lot more ups we can go on and on here, but I don't. And contrary, I don't have a lot of downs written down. But I'm actually going to take a little bit of O'Hara's up there and give it a slight down on my end because I don't love the Meryl Streep stuff. I think it's that whole dinner with Jerry. Just I get it. Jerry has to act like he's upset and he's not happy with anything Elaine's going to say. I just feel like tying the she's an actress and phony into the fake stuff seems like an easy way out in this case to me. Jerry just kind of, in my opinion, mails in the acting in this scene a little bit, just gets frustrated. Well, you ready to go? Give me the check, the whole thing there. And I was listening to Elaine and, phony baloney stuff. I don't know. Well, it was very hard to find downs. I rewatched that scene and I don't, Elaine eating the ice cream, just going overboard with the, the whole thing there, a little spin off on Harry Met Sally sort of ish. But I don't know. If I'm going to find it down, that's kind of the one I picked out of that scene. I thought Jerry's acting was pretty kind of melded in that scene a little bit. And, that's going to be my first down.
All right, Tony, we'll take it. And Chris, over to you. What's your first down?
Yeah, well, we don't know. Tony's tough on Jerry. So that theme continues. So for me, it's lines. The Houdini stuff, I don't know. Houdini had him. What? Houdini had what? He couldn't get it up or something? I don't know. Is that even a known thing? I guess it could be funny because he just kind of, who the hell would think of Houdini? But then, they kind of bring it back and George keeps asking about it. Is that thing about Houdini true? Like, who cares? So for me, I don't know. The Houdini line, I don't think they just didn't need it, I know it was kind of Jerry trying to be a good friend and it happens to everyone, the whole thing, but the Houdini stuff, first down.
All right. Yeah. Thanks, Chris. And Tony, back to you. What's your second down?
Yeah, my second down is I was right. I'm tough on Jerry because my second down is kind of another Jerry. And the whole returning things to each other, another kind of scene that I don't love. The both of them, I feel like it's almost ad-lib the way they deliver their lines. So you got your fins, Yeah, but my poker chips next to the goggles. Where's my card next to the chips? Like, I get what they're doing. They're upset with each other. It's awkward. But this is like the ex-boyfriend, like coming back to get my stuff sort of thing, but it's more of a friendship stuff. I love the sex to save the friendship. But before that, I don't love the exchanging of the stuff. I thought it was kind of they had to get to the other part quicker, and they just had to do it. They could have just had them be awkward for some other way, or I don't know what it would be, but I just feel like they would have been kind of past that. My stuff is at your stuff kind of place. I mean, when was the last time Elaine stayed over there? It was like they just broke up, right? So I get what they were doing, but I don't think it landed is my point. So everyone is out there now in the oh, that's what they did to get them back together. That's what you do. I get it, but I think they were past that in the relationship part. And I just thought it was kind of silly with the fins, the goggles, the poker chips, the cards. I don't know. I'm finding downs here, folks. And that's where I'm landing. Second down.
No, yeah, I could hop on that one as a down. All right, Chris, over to you. What's your second down?
Yeah, I actually wrote Jerry has fins and goggles. He's that like Kramer.
Exactly. Like what do we? That's a weird fate to go pick up. I don't know.
Yeah, like if you said baseball cards or comic books, I would have believed it. Whatever. But anyway, and I know it's interesting. I can't do that analyzing this episode because future episodes, I know we talk about the move, right? So if Jerry had the move, how to Elaine not have orgasms, but I'm not going to go there. As probably Pink Hats might bring up, but the opening monologue, I don't want to touch monologues. I'm just going to go with Kramer telling us he fakes too sometimes. Come on, man. Like, it was actually funny when, Renee at Pendant Publishing said it. She was, boom, quick, spot on, Broadway show, had enough already. I didn't need them to double down there with Kramer. He's a quirky guy, yes, but there's no way the K-Man is, pulling out, if you will. So for me, that's it. That was my down. Just a little out of character, let's say, for Kramer as my second down.
Alrighty, that wraps up the ups and the downs. So Tony, back to you. Let's go with the grades and wrapping up your thoughts on the mango.
Yeah, so I mean, this is called 2 ups and 2 downs, and obviously we could have gotten 5-6 ups probably with the mango. O'Hara gave Joe fruit, but he just mentioned Renee. I wrote it down as an up. I mean, I almost used that as an up. I loved Renee. I know O'Hara's big on Pendant. I'm big on Pendant too. Great co-worker she is. Just comes in, delivers the line like O'Hara said. We didn't even get to risotto. I mean, what a scene that is. Lisa Edelman hits it out of the park with the risotto stuff. I mean, unbelievable. The way George is all like, oh, maybe we'll go back. She's like, yeah, maybe. The way she delivers all her lines, like, you're generally okay with this stuff. Yeah, generally. She's just so, like, matter of fact. I'm full after the risotto. Obviously, the crib note stuff is an all-timer. I think It Moved is an all-timer. There's so much here to love. I even mentioned the monologue. I like the stand-up scene. That's a classic Jerry routine. The whole scene, this watermelon bit. I believe that's on. I'm telling you for the last time. Just so much there. We talked about the opening scene. My only debate here is how high do I go? I mean, that's where I'm at with this one. I think it's season 5. It starts it off for us. It's got everything we love about Seinfeld from the first conversation, right down to the bit characters like Joe and Risotto. I'm going to give the mango an A. I think I don't think it's an A plus. That's all I'm going to say. This is one of those ones I wrote down my grades before I even watched it and just kind of was going off of it and seeing if it was going to move at all. And I couldn't get it up to an A plus. Could it be an A minus? Perhaps, but I'm just going to go solid A for the mango. I think, it's one of those ones like O'Hara mentioned. You're going to turn it off? Obviously not. And the opening scene is what brings you right in. And the whole thing is set up right there so perfectly. And then you just get carried through the whole show. And it's just so easy to watch and just so good. So A for the mango.
No, I definitely agree with that grade and everything you just said about it. Because the mango, for some reason, has been an episode I haven't seen in a while. And like you said, I enjoyed it throughout, and yeah, well deserved grade there. So Chris, over to you. What do you got for a grade?
Well said. And for some reason, I think this episode gets lost in the mindset of the traditional Seinfeld fan, and I don't know why. Maybe it's because it kicked off season 5, and we think marine biologists, we think this, that, and the other thing, and the mango. History says it was originally going to be called the orgasm, and I think the name, if it was called the orgasm, we might be having a different conversation in lore here, believe it or not. The mango, it's a mango. I don't know. There might be a little there, but at the end of the day, this won an Emmy, for crying out loud, for writing this episode. So what can you say? The Joe, I mentioned the Kramer Joe. Do we even talk about the Jerry, when Jerry went in? Just getting some fruit for myself. I mean, him walking around and then him getting banned. I mean, Joe was in 2 scenes and absolutely stole the show. And not on top of that, you mentioned the pendant girl. Boom, quick hitter, great line. You mentioned Lisa Edelstein. I mean, incredible. The smoking. George. I mean, all 4, quite frankly, on all 4 cylinders, right? George being George, Elaine just, needling Jerry, bringing it. The K-Man with the fruit, but not overdoing it, just being that neighbor, right? And then obviously, Jerry quarterbacking the whole thing. With all that said, I think you're right. I think you landed on the right grade. I think we're fair here. I think it's a clean A. But I do think I know we talk about underrated. I think it gets lost in that shuffle of higher ups, and I'm not sure why. But that's something for our audience to think more about. But yeah, the conversation, I think you mentioned it, that set the tone for everything. And once you set the tone there at Monks, it's A material. So A for the mango.
All right, excellent analysis there, guys, as always, and appreciate your comments. So everybody, join us again on the next episode. We'll see you there.